Before stepping into some of Hollywood's most memorable roles, a few actors made sure the deal worked on their terms. From demanding creative control to insisting on surprising casting choices, these stars weren't afraid to set bold conditions before saying yes. And in some cases, those demands helped shape the films themselves in unforgettable ways. Florence Pugh agreed to join the Marvel Universe, but only after making one thing absolutely clear. She would play Yelena Belova on her own terms, and no one else would dictate what her body should look like. Before she accepted the role, Pugh wanted to know exactly who controlled the fitness plan and whether she could set the boundaries herself. She didn't want constant check-ins or pressure to maintain a perfect superhero shape. On set, she even cooked her own meals instead of relying on the private chef available to the cast, choosing a routine that kept her grounded while filming Black Widow. Liam Neeson agreed to play a villainous cowboy, but only if he could do it in the most unexpected way. Years earlier, Family Guy joked about Neeson trying to play an American cowboy while keeping his unmistakable Irish accent. The gag might have faded into TV history, but Neeson's sons told him about it, and he never forgot. So when Seth MacFarlane later asked him to join A Million Ways to Die in the West, Neeson had one condition: he would play the cowboy exactly like the joke, with a loud, unapologetically Irish brogue. MacFarlane said yes, turning a cartoon punchline into reality. Margot Robbie was offered the chance to play the definitive Barbie, but she wouldn't take the role unless other Barbies existed alongside her. Before signing on, Robbie made one condition clear: the movie couldn't present just a single version of Barbie for audiences to look up to. She wanted a world filled with many Barbies, each played by different actresses, so the film could reflect a wider range of identities and experiences. That demand helped shape Barbie into a story with presidents, mermaids, and wild-haired Barbies, all coexisting in Barbie Land and supporting the film's message of inclusion. Rami Malek was offered the next Bond villain, but he refused to say yes until one major concern was settled. After winning an Oscar, Malek had the freedom to be selective, and playing Safin in No Time to Die came with a risk. The character could easily be viewed as a terrorist, and Malek, proud of his Egyptian heritage, didn't want Safin tied to any real-world ideology or religion. His condition was firm: the villain could not be portrayed through that lens. Director Cary Joji Fukunaga confirmed that wasn't the plan, and only then did Malek agree to take on the role. Bill Murray agreed to star in Ghostbusters, but not before using the opportunity to push through a project much closer to his heart. In the early 1980s, he and his friend John Byram had written a dramatic adaptation of The Razor's Edge, but no studio wanted to finance it. Meanwhile, Columbia Pictures needed another lead actor for Ghostbusters. Murray saw his opening. His one condition was simple: he'd join Ghostbusters only if the studio funded The Razor's Edge. Columbia agreed, giving Murray his dream project and unintentionally securing one of the most iconic comedy roles of his career. William Shatner returned as Captain Kirk, but only after demanding something as big as the Starship Enterprise itself. Thanks to a favored nations clause dating back to the original Star Trek series, anything Leonard Nimoy received, Shatner was entitled to as well. So, when Nimoy directed 2 successful Trek films, Shatner saw his moment. During pay negotiations for the next movie, he added one major condition: he would only come back if he could direct the film too. Paramount couldn't make a Kirk movie without Kirk, so they agreed, giving Shatner the director's chair for Star Trek V: The Final Frontier. Gene Wilder agreed to play Willy Wonka, but only if the film added one very specific scene he created himself. After director Mel Stewart offered him the role, Wilder requested an entrance that would instantly define who Wonka was. He wanted to appear with a cane, moving slowly as the crowd hushed, then suddenly collapse forward, roll into a somersault, and spring to his feet. The moment would make everyone wonder whether Wonka was truthful or deceptive, a key part of the character's mystery. It was Wilder's one condition, and Stewart agreed, giving the movie one of its most iconic moments. Alan Alda was invited to host Scientific American Frontiers, but he wouldn't accept unless he could do far more than read from a script. PBS originally wanted him to introduce each segment, but Alda felt that wasn't enough. A lifelong fan of science, he insisted on conducting every interview himself. That was his one condition before signing on. The network agreed, and Alda went on to host the show for more than a decade. His curious, conversational interview style even inspired a larger mission: helping scientists communicate more clearly with the public, a passion that eventually led to the creation of the Alan Alda Center for Communicating Science. Leonard Nimoy agreed to return as Spock, but only if it opened a brand new door for him. After Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan revived his love for the character, Nimoy noticed a small detail during a private screening: Spock's coffin resting on the Genesis planet. He knew Paramount would call about a sequel, and this time he had leverage. Years earlier, he and William Shatner had asked for a chance to direct, only to be denied. So he made one bold condition: he would reprise Spock in Star Trek III only if he could direct the film. The studio agreed instantly. Adam Beach was offered a major role in Wind Talkers, but he wouldn't say yes until one powerful group gave him their blessing. Before accepting the part of a Navajo code talker, Beach insisted on getting approval from the Navajo Nation itself. He refused to portray a member of their community without their permission, even though it meant risking a career-defining opportunity. The nation agreed, but added their own requirement. The studio had to cast an enrolled Navajo actor as Beach's fellow code talker. Roger Willie stepped into the role and even taught Beach about Navajo history, strengthening the authenticity of the film. Esther Rolle agreed to play Florida Evans, but only after demanding something Hollywood rarely offered black actresses at the time. When Norman Lear approached her about starring as a maid on Maude, Rolle hesitated. She had grown up with a promise to her father that she'd never work in anyone else's house, and she knew how often TV turned domestic workers into flat, stereotypical characters. Her one condition was clear: she would only take the role if Florida Evans was written as a fully developed, well-rounded person. Lear agreed, and Florida became so beloved she eventually led to the spin-off Good Times. Brandy was offered the chance to play Cinderella, but she wouldn't say yes unless her childhood idol joined her on screen. After Whitney Houston stepped back from playing Cinderella herself, she recommended Brandy for the role and personally reached out to her. Brandy loved the idea, but she had one condition before accepting: Houston had to play the fairy godmother. It was the only way she wanted to step into the iconic glass slippers. Houston agreed, and Disney moved forward with a groundbreaking adaptation of Cinderella that paired the two singers in roles fans still celebrate today. Brent Spiner was expected to return as Data for Star Trek Generations, but he wasn't signing anything until Paramount met one unusual condition. With the script finished and filming only weeks away, Spiner realized he had rare leverage. He agreed to reprise Data only if the studio also secured him a role in another non-Star Trek movie. If they couldn't, he wanted a bonus written into the contract. Paramount accepted the clause but never found him another part, so Spiner collected the payout and still went on to appear in Independence Day, a role he'd already landed on his own.